Y'all ready for an update? Ruby Tuesday is back in the news with Law and Crime. They got an update for us, so let's dive into this. I hope y'all are staying stress-free, healthy, drinking your water, doing the things that you're supposed to be doing, all right? Let's dive in to see what's going on with this situation. You saw the title, Monster. Ruby Franke. Is it Frankie or Frank? I think it's Frankie. Best defense in child, I'm just blank that word out, case dissected by framed defense attorney. Let's dive in and see what's going on.
Parenting requires uncomfortable conversations, bold confrontations, and lots of squabbles. Today I have all three.
Did they say lots of, did she say lots of squabbles? Let me turn these captions on. See what she's saying.
And lots of squabbles. Today I have all three.
She's the YouTube mom going viral.
So squabbles on the West Coast, at least, according to Crip Mac, and squabbles is fighting, throwing hands. So you throwing hands with your kids? Is that what you're saying? You admitting to putting the paws, fisticuffs with your children's.
For all the wrong reasons. There's so much to talk about when it comes to Ruby Franke, the woman behind the now defunct 8 Passengers YouTube channel, and now charged with 6 counts of felony child abuse. 8 Passengers
Did they say defunct? Oh wow.
YouTube channel, and now charged with 6 counts of felony child abuse. But let's talk about her potential defenses with renowned defense attorney Fred Perri. Welcome to Sidebar, presented by Law and Crime. I'm Jesse Weber.
Side note, there's a lot of videos on the Law and Crime channel about this specific case. So if y'all want me to get into the other ones, just throw it in the chat. Let me know. I don't mind doing them, but I don't want to do them if y'all don't want to watch them. All right. So I got a lot of videos to create for y'all. Let me know what y'all want in the comments.
Ruby Franke is the 41-year-old mom of 6 who's currently charged with 6 counts of aggravated child abuse. As we've been talking about, she rose to fame when she and her husband Kevin Franke started a YouTube channel called 8 Passengers in 2015 to document the lives of their family and the kids. And those kids were heavily featured in these videos. Now, over the years, there's been concerns from fellow vloggers about Franke's parenting style and the way that she doles out punishments. For example, in a 2020 video, she and her then 15-year-old son Chad talked about Chad sleeping on a beanbag chair for 7 months after he pranked.
7 months. Now, we covered this in a previous live. We covered some of her videos and the ones about what she's been doing to the kids, and they covered this specific one, but I didn't know it was 7 months on a beanbag chair. Like, yeah, I remember this. Yeah, because I know they're pulling in some money. They got 2-point-something million subscribers on YouTube, and it's a family channel, the most friendly channel to run ads to. You bringing in some money, not let alone sponsorship deals and all that type of stuff. And you got your son, a teenager, sleeping on a beanbag. I don't know. Let's figure out why. I was about to say I don't know why, but let's see what's going on.
His younger brother. Then there was also this video of her 6-year-old daughter not being provided lunch because she didn't make it herself. Really weird and disturbing stuff.
I remember
and then
that.
You fast forward to August 30th of this year, and a 12-year-old boy, who we now know to be Franke's son Russell, climbed out of a window at the home of Franke's business partner, Jody Hildebrand. According to a 911 phone call, he went to a neighbor's home, asked for food and water.
Wow.
Told dispatchers the boy was emaciated, he had duct tape around his extremities. And when first responders went inside the Hildebrand home, they found a 10-year-old girl, who we now know to be Franke's daughter, Eve, in similar condition. Both children were taken to a hospital and are said to be doing well. Well, Ruby Franke, Jody Hildebrand, they were both arrested, charged with those, as I said, 6 counts of
So you torturing your children. It's bad enough any children, but your children. Of water and food. It's not like you taking away toys or something. who knows the reason she's doing it? She's clearly, you got to be some type of like power struggle where it makes her feel like she's in control or something. Because what other reason would you not give children food and water?
Aggravated child abuse. They're both in the Washington County Jail in Utah. They both have bail hearings later this month. Now, it seems like a pretty open and shut case. Or is it? What could be a defense for Ruby Franke? Well, I'm joined right now by renowned criminal defense attorney Fred Perri, who famously represented Beanie Siegel. This is our first time meeting, sir. Thank you so much for coming here on Sidebar, and great to meet you.
My pleasure. Great meeting you as well.
I love that the first case I have you on is probably not the easiest case to defend, but hey, listen, you're a great criminal defense attorney, so that's what we got to talk about. Before we even get into a potential defense,
I want to hear this. What you got to say? I mean, I know he's not actually defending her, I don't think, but what type of defense could she present in any way, shape, or form to justify starving a little boy and a little girl? Not just starving, but dehydrating them when you got water.
I ask everybody I've been talking about with this case, what are just your overall thoughts on this case when you see it?
Outraged, horrific. The more I look into it, it's a terrible situation. If these allegations are true, it's outrageous.
And I wonder, look, every criminal defendant, no matter what the allegations, no matter what the crime, they are all entitled to a defense. They are all innocent until proven guilty.
She shouldn't have no defense. And she ain't innocent. She guilty until proven otherwise. And ain't gonna be no proven otherwise.
But talking about representing somebody like Ruby Franke with what she's accused with and all the public backlash and what the public perception is, how difficult do you think it's going to be for an attorney to stand in the shoes as her criminal defense attorney?
Well, this is one of those cases. Like you say, there's public outrage over the allegations. But we in our profession like to always kind of start off with, let's not rush to judgment. Let's have an opportunity for due process to work itself out. Everyone in this country is presumed to be innocent. Let's
fast forward a little bit.
And just focusing on that, do attorneys in this position, they have a conversation with their families, their friends, their law firm? Hey, before we take this case, we have to know what we're getting ourselves into.
There are some cases that we have that discussion internally in our firm. Not necessarily my family. My family's gotten over years ago what I've been doing for the past 35 years. But there are times internally in the office where we'll say, hey, does it make sense to get involved in something like this?
That's good.
Because there may be some type of backlash that we really don't want to be involved in.
That's good.
Oh, I get it. You've seen the allegations. You've heard really tough question. You've seen the allegations. You've heard the police report. How would you defend Ruby Franke?
Difficult.
Yeah.
That's going to be good.
I mean, you start off with...
Or maybe not.
Reviewing the evidence in the case. I have not seen any of the interviews from the children, whether they be the two children involved in these allegations or the other children that may or may not have been involved in prior abuse.
They all look so just like drained and tired and miserable. Like, look at this little boy. Like, look at the bags under his eyes. Not necessarily bags, but like the dark spots. Maybe it's just the camera angle or the light, but I don't know. Let's see what he's saying.
The other children that may or may not have been involved in prior abusive behavior. But I'd like to review the statements from the children. I'd like to have the medical evidence provided so that we can take a look at the medical evidence to see how recent these injuries are. There may be some injuries that date back years, even prior to the separation of Miss Franke and her husband. I'd like to kind of gather all the facts before I make a decision on whether or not we're going to put our mouthpieces in and go to war on something like this for a trial, or we're going to kind of start sitting down with prosecutors and try and work the case out. So you need to get all of the information in front of the medical records. So those are some of the things you might want to take a look at before you get started.
And it looks, and when you said have a conversation with prosecutors, you mean if you look at the case and it looks really bad, then you have a conversation with your client about possibly taking a plea deal?
Yeah, and I think before you do that, in this case, I would want to have my client evaluated by medical professionals to see if there's any type of mental health issues involved here. There may be some levels of stress within her life or her relationship or something, and you might want to have someone take a long, hard look at her to see what is going on inside. Because if these allegations are accurate, this is someone who really has some issues going on mentally. And I think once that is accomplished, when we see what's going on, if there's a mental health diagnosis, then I would meet with prosecutors and try to work the case out in some fashion.
Let's expand upon that. I did a quick research under Utah law, and I saw that it says it is a defense to a prosecution under any statute or ordinance that the defendant, as a result of a mental condition, lacked the mental state required as an element of the offense charge. I then took that and then I looked at the six aggravated child abuse charges that she faces, and there is an intentionally or knowingly component to each one of those. What could be a potential mental defect that she had where she didn't realize this is child abuse or didn't intend for this to be child abuse? Am I thinking about that the right way?
Generally speaking, for someone to be what we refer to as criminally insane, you have to have a diagnosis so that as a result of your mental health defect, you do not understand the difference between right and wrong. For you to be completely acquitted due to your...
Now, the one thing I will say about this, as much as I think that she is wrong, and as much as I believe that she should have to suffer the consequences of her actions, is something about putting a camera in front of your face with your children there present and saying a bunch of craziness, then taking that video, maybe editing that video, right, cutting out parts of the video that you want, but leaving the parts where you're saying ridiculous things, squabbling and, making the boy sleep on a, beanbag for 7 months, taking his bed away or his room away, and then all the other stuff that she was doing. Something probably isn't clicking for you to think that you edit out all the other stuff, leave all that in the video, publish the video, post it on your YouTube channel for 2 point however many millions of people to see, and think that it's okay. Right? So it's only one or two things. You either can't get right, some off with you, and you think that that's fine for you to do what you want to do, or you probably thought that you can say controversial things, although they're being true, and no one would ever find out your actual actions that you were partaking in at home. For example, by your kid running out of the house, jumping out the window, and trying to go find some food and water, right? Probably thought she could just live this way for however long. So I don't know. It's something about this that maybe she's a little bit off, but I don't think criminally insane is the route.
Insanity, criminal insanity. You have to have that mental defect. I'm assuming Utah law is the same way. That's how it is here in Pennsylvania. And what law enforcement would look to kind of combat that offense would be, what steps did a criminal defendant take to in any way try to cover up what their criminality was at the time they were committing these acts? Because if you're starting to cover up, even in the slightest opportunity, cover up what you did, hide what you did, that's evidence that you know right from wrong. Because you know what you did was wrong, and you don't want anybody to find out about it. So I think you'd have to rise to that level to present a mental health defense at a trial.
Let me tell you what I think makes that tricky, and I'm curious your thoughts on it. So before she was even arrested, we know that the Department of Family and Child Services had been contacted. We know they visited the home. We know that Ruby Franke understood she was receiving a ton of criticism online about her parenting techniques. She always doubled down from what we saw, saying, she was shocked by this allegations that she was an abuser or neglectful of the children.
Interesting.
It's about taking responsibility. So it always seemed to me that she, at least in public, has been doubling down on her parenting style. And if, DCFS, whatever reason, they didn't find any evidence of abuse, can she say, listen, I never thought anything that I was doing was wrong. People have different parenting techniques. I was shocked that I was arrested for this. I say that because what's complicating, I just interviewed Kevin Franke's attorney. Kevin Franke is Ruby Franke's husband. And he said, if I understood it correctly, that Kevin had a call with Ruby right before she was arrested saying she knew that law enforcement was coming and that he wanted her to take care of the kids. So it's always that prime example. If someone commits a crime and just is hanging out and then the police come and they're totally confused, that's like really insane. Like you didn't know what you were doing was illegal whatsoever. But here, if she had the understanding that people were looking into her, she was being criticized, the police were on their way, does that complicate the mental health defense?
I think it does. And let's just use these facts as an example. Let's assume that when she's confronted initially, whether it be in this circumstance or as you were talking about prior occasions, and there's evidence of abuse, and she says, well, the family dog told me not to give my children food for 7 days and then duct tape their hands and lock them in a closet. And our dog has been telling me that for years to do that. And so I did it. And she doesn't hide anything. And then she's evaluated and she sees that she has that mental defect where she's listening to the family dog. But
isn't it like a version or a variation of being schizophrenic? I know it's like you're hearing voices in your head, but at the same time, you probably are thinking you're hearing the dog say something, but it's really a voice in your head. I don't think that this is what that is, or that's what she has. But based off the way he's describing that example, that's what that sounds like.
We don't have that here. We have a woman, as you said, has been doubling down on how great of a parent she's been.
Yeah, so she definitely can utilize that.
She knows what it is to be a good parent, and she knows what it is to be abusive. That's obvious from the facts of this case. It's obvious from her history in these circumstances. So I would say that there's no opportunity to present a mental health defense at a trial. I think the only mental health issue that can be utilized in this case would be for mitigation purposes, for plea negotiations, for sentencing purposes. I think you start that process now, and I think that's the best way to resolve the case.
So basically, plead guilty, try to get a deal for less years than whatever you're about to receive, because it's a wrap, bud. Ruby Tuesday, it's a wrap. You're going to jail now. Y'all remember that video? The bus driver knocked the lady that like hit him or something like that, and then he hit her with an uppercut. So she going to jail now. Yeah, it's basically no defense for this situation. Rightfully so, because how do you abuse your children in this way, shape, or form? And again, it's not even just physical. Like, you're refusing to give them water and food, and it looks like, I don't know the ages of all of them, but some of them look as young as like 4, 7, all these different age ranges, and you're not even giving them the basic life essentials on purpose. Not because you don't have them or you're struggling or any of those things. You're specifically and intentionally choosing to neglect your children and cause them harm for your own, I don't want to say ego, but like your desire to have some power or control over somebody or something. That's probably the real issue, is she feels powerless and wants to, assert her dominance in some way, shape, or form, unfortunately over some helpless children and kids that can't do anything because they view you as the person that protects them and the person that provides for them and nurtures them. And this is the nurturing that they get from a fool, from a damn fool. I don't know how much more they're gonna add to that, because that sounds like that's about the primary routes. What I will do is maybe we'll go live tonight, possibly, not guarantee, possibly, and check out some more. I'm gonna look through some more videos. Y'all let me know y'all thoughts down below. What do you think about this situation? What do you think about what this attorney says as far as the only defense, which I agree with? Plead guilty. You know, that's basically their route. Plead guilty, because you are. She definitely is a damn fool out here starving your children. For what? That's when you got too much, right? Ain't counting their pockets, but sound like they were well off financially, maybe not mentally, especially the guy. I think that's another video I'm gonna review on the husband, because I got some words for this fool. Like, what are you doing and where are you at? Until next time, y'all drop some comments down below. Let me know what y'all think about the situation. Hit that like button. If you're not subscribed, hit that subscribe button. Join the fam, and I'll catch y'all in the next one. Peace.